everyone, so nice to see you again. Today, we will be focusing on an interesting part of mythology. How do mythology in Chinese culture and Western culture look at individual persons? And what do individuals look at themselves when weighing their own interests in a group, especially when their personal interests are in conflict with the group's? Let's start with the Chinese myths. In Chinese mythology, it is not difficult to see that the collectivism is always given priority to. Chinese people are inclined to view their deities as superheroes who always come to their rescue when they are in sufferance. If the deities sacrifice themselves for the redemption of the mankind, they are praised, thought highly of, and worshipped. However, their heroic and self-sacrificial action is kind of taken for granted because they're always expected by the humans to have complete devotion for the bigger self of the world. In Chinese, it is called sacrifice oneself for the greater good. 牺牲小我，成全大我。Chinese nation tends to give priority to the benefit of group before making every decision and associate individual benefit with the benefit of the community. We see this social feature reflected in Chinese mythology and explains why many of the gods and deities in Chinese myths are self-sacrificial and altruistic. There is a widely celebrated tale of the Great Flood of Guanyu. During the reign of Emperor Yao, there was a major flood that continued for 2 generations and left people in great storms and famine. Gun, one of the gods in heaven, stole a piece of magic soil, which is called Xirang, from the supreme divinity to dam the flood. When Gun was almost successful in controlling the water, the supreme deity, furious with him, issued an order of his execution. Miraculously, 3 years later, out of Gun's preserved body born a son, another heroic figure in Chinese mythology, Da Yu, who continued his father's undertaking for years. With different but successful approaches to control the flood, Da Yu eventually achieved success. Like his father Gun, who died for the flood control, Da Yu was renowned for so much commitment to the project that for 3 times he saved the chance to stop by his own home, even though it was very near, which is the famous story of 3 passes without entering. 3过家门而不入. People are grateful to Da Yu and his father Gun for their personal sacrifice to make the earth a suitable and peaceful place for human habitation. Da Yu literally means great Yu, to reflect people's admiration and gratefulness for him. Interestingly, we might see something quite different in Western mythology about priority of person versus group, either for gods or for humans. In Western society, an individual person is the smallest component of a society and is considered having equal rights and independence from each other, and bonded by the social contract. Thus, the goal of life is to obtain maximum profit and individual enjoyment, which is reflected in the mythology to result in the sensual and pleasure-seeking gods in heavenly kingdom. Therefore, compared with the Chinese mythology, there are more factors of playfulness between the gods and the mankind. To fulfill one's personal needs, some despicable deeds were seen in some deities, even in high heavenly rank. One of the striking figures in Greek myths is Hera, Zeus' wife, the queen of gods. She was extremely jealous, and she kept giving punishment to the innocent lovers of Zeus and their offspring. She cut off Lamia's eyelids because she was Zeus' lover, killed her children in front of her, and turned her into a child-eating monster. Hera's husband, Zeus, loved consorting with nymphs on earth. When the suspicious Hera was trying to catch Zeus with the nymphs, Echo, the nymph, tried to protect Zeus because he had ordered her to, by talking too much. This endured Hera's wrath and made her unable to speak complete sentences but the last two words spoken to her, because of which Echo was unable to tell Narcissus, the lover of her life, how much she loved him. Eventually, she sadly watched him fall in love with himself and died. Echo died after him in extreme sorrow and despair. Okay, are you all clear about our major points today? Let's see how well you have done today. Questions. 1. How does the individual's interest compete with the groups in terms of the gods' personalities? In Chinese mythology, there is a tendency to put collective interests above individuals, which is often reflected in the personalities of deities as a world-saving heroism, sometimes involving self-sacrifice. While in Western mythology, personal needs and enjoyment is very much valued. When individual needs clashes with collective interests, in many cases, the former beats the latter. Personal needs are so much emphasized that we see extreme and immoral actions taken to protect one's personal rights. And important heavenly figures are accepted to conduct such kinds of actions. 2. Can you give any examples of mythical figures to support your opinion in the above statements? In Chinese mythology, we have tons of heroic figures who sacrifice their own interest, even life, for a better life of the mortals. Such as Guanyu, the father and son, who built the dam and controlled the great flood, but stealing magic soil from heaven and sacrificed himself or saved the chances to care for his family. While in Greek mythology, we see many cases of deities given priority to their personal needs, and in some extreme cases have done immoral deeds. Case in point is Hera, the queen of gods. Being very jealous, she has done some cruel things to Zeus' lovers, sons, and people who have helped to hide Zeus' love affairs.